So, dude, Mandalorian. Did you see the preview?
I did. I'm super pumped for it to come back. Cute ass little baby Yoda. I see him sitting there behind you. I don't care that he's called the child. He is baby Yoda. I'm super excited for them to get more into the backstory. I'm glad they turned this around so fast. It looks amazing. I'm geeked. Disney Plus, this is pretty much their only original content that I give a shit about
Yep.
until all the Marvel shows come
Well,
out.
well, did you hear? So the way that it sounds like they're doing it is it's going to be Mandalorian, and then they're going to play the episodes, and then right when that ends in December, WandaVision, right after, the week after.
That's the
Something
one
like that.
I'm very intrigued by that because that's going to play directly into Multiverse of Madness. So I'm like, okay.
Listen, I don't know. Like I've heard rumblings here or there. I'm hearing the M word being legitimately like canonized into the world potentially within WandaVision because of the connection and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
man, if they like, I'm just listen. There's two things I know we're both super excited for: the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Okay,
Wait.
because in my opinion, if Fantastic Four comes, Doctor Doom comes, and I know you know we're both waiting for that. Yes, I know. But dude, so I can't wait to see the Dark Saber in Mandalorian.
Hmm.
All right, do you know the history of that?
Yes, because I finally
Oh.
caught up
Mhm.
on Clone Wars, which I'm slightly disappointed that like as much as I like Dawson as an actress, I'm slightly disappointed they didn't get the girl who voices Ahsoka to play it.
I had the same reaction at first. Like, because I watched everything. I even watched Rebels, and I was like,
I couldn't get into it. I know it's really good, but it's like the beginning's so rough. I'm just like,
it really was. I did it in the background, but dude, once you get through the beginning part, like when it starts getting more into the Jedi stuff,
yeah.
and then it gets into like the Maul storyline, and then oh my god, I mean, you have to see the Anakin Skywalker, the Anakin Ahsoka fight, the original. Like they have
Oh yeah.
in Rebels, I don't know if you saw the scene, but they have like where Darth Vader fights Ahsoka, and it's like
Oh no, I
it's
didn't know
oh,
that.
it's
Oh my
so
god.
it's
All right.
so
Because
good.
I've been.
It
Oh.
digs later in the seasons. It digs into Ahsoka's character, and the reason why I'm telling you this, I don't want to give you all the things, obviously, but like where the storyline happened in the from what I know from because Dave Filoni made the show, so the guy that makes Mandalorian made the Clone
Oh
Wars.
no shit.
That's why
Okay.
the dark saber came
That's why
over.
the dark
Yeah,
saber. Gotcha.
but like yeah, if you watch the gallery stuff on Disney, like yeah, the Dave Filoni he started on Clone Wars, like so all the Clone Wars that's him. So that's why,
Oh shit.
that's why the storytelling got much better because like it got dry in the politics of
Yeah,
that
which was
that
the same
war,
issue the fucking movies had,
right?
and like that show was so fun to watch. I'm glad I binged it because some of the episodes, like if it was like
Some of
an
the
Amidala
three,
episode, or if
yeah,
it was a
yeah,
three
seeing them
PO and like
adds
R2D2, I'm
depth.
like I don't care.
Right, but it adds like yeah, like I let it scan through, but then you get to like the triple episodes and like the ones
Mhm.
that were like the Mandalorian storylines, the
Almost
Ahsoka storylines are great. Some of them,
almost any Obi-Wan storyline,
yeah. Oh,
I
dude,
was all in for it.
the
Dude,
original
like
Mandalorian Obi-Wan storyline with Maul.
he became one of my favorite characters. Like I was never that big on Obi-Wan. I'm like, I don't get why people love him so much. I started watching Clone Wars. I'm like, yo, he's actually a
He's great.
G
He's
though.
so
Like some
funny.
of these
He's so
fights,
badass in
yeah,
that.
it's like
Yeah.
he's
He
so bad, and it's like his lines are just great. It's like you said, like even Anakin. Anakin falls to dark. You're
so
like,
much
just don't.
better.
You're like, just please don't. Like,
Like and like the Clone Wars made me appreciate Anakin more. Like I hated the prequels. I mean, obviously when I was like growing up, like so we obviously missed the original, but we grew up
right?
on the original
Yeah, we
because
knew
they were
what Star Wars.
still
What we had,
right
the
because
VHS. Yeah,
right
like
because we grew up and there was no prequels yet. Like so when we were young, it was like the calm before the storm of the new
yeah.
era, and then they got popular again. So when I was like 5, I had the Millennium Falcon toy, and I had all these goddamn toys from the original trilogy. I remember seeing
Yeah, whenever it was on, you'd be like, "Oh, remember when they
right.
re-released it?
Oh,
Like they re-released it in theaters briefly. And it was a big fucking deal. It's
it's
like,
like I appreciate it because I love movie making, but like now even watching it's like wow, like you watch it now, you're like I can't believe like how bad the original must have really been because like even cleaned up, you're like oh my god, it's so the graphics are
yeah,
still crap, but it's just also you think about when they did it, 1970 whatever, and it's amazing what they've accomplished.
yeah,
I really highly recommend if you haven't yet before the season comes out, watch the gallery of the Mandalorian. It's in the extras.
mm,
Um, uh, I forgot which episode it was, but it's like interviewing with Dave Filoni, John Favreau, the directors, first of all, I didn't realize one of the directors is the girl from Jurassic World, the main lead.
Ron Howard is her dad. She's
Yeah,
also
yeah. You told me that's what you said to me, right?
well,
So,
you know what else she was in, right?
no.
Spider-Man 3. She was Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah, right. So she did big movies. So now she's a director. I think that's really cool. But
Oh,
like,
yeah,
so,
it's awesome.
so they talk about this new device they made called the Volume, and as me doing my own
I
video
think
edits.
that's been around for a while.
No. It's like this thing that's like you have no idea. Like it's like big dome of like TVs, and they use game engines, like game engine. You know how game engines work, like for video
Yeah.
games. If you move, it's like the environment will move with it. So it's like it's all created around you, sort of. So they were able to create this like game engine within the Volume, and so when they were filming, you would even see it like in the extras when they were like filming, it would like the screen would be blank until they were like the camera was near it, and it would be moving and be showing the scene in the full game engine, fully detailed. Like, so the backgrounds that you see in the show, the reason why it looks so amazing and like real on these planets, it's the Volume. Like they're all every fucking scene that you see is literally in the Volume, and they use like main things mixed with the screen, and you can't even tell the difference. So I really recommend watching the episode because it's incredible what they do. And now they experimented with that and figured it out with season 1. Now they have it for season 2. So I'm really super excited to see some shit happen in here. Marvel stuff though, let's jump to that. Let's jump to that real quick. WandaVision comes out, dude. I mean,
yep, excited for that.
Did you see who's guest starring in it? That girl that's like in all the comedy movies. The girl I only think of her from a wedding from Step Brothers. The girl that the wife of this dickhead brother.
Really?
She's in it as like a
shit.
nosy neighbor. There's theories that she's and she was like she got brought out on the panel at Comic-Con. So there's theories that she's like obviously bigger. She's probably the villain. I'm gonna just assume that she's the villain. Because she would be.
She could be like Enchantress or something. Like she could be. What was
like the really big villain that was like the deal with like magic, like she was a female character, older lady
in Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Like she was wasn't she in X-Men Evolution? The girl that took Rogue in X-Men Evolution. Do you remember that at all? Like
wasn't that
Agatha Hartway or no? What the hell is her name? No. She's like a usually a villain character that deals with magic. In the Marvel world, that's like she was working with Mystique in X-Men Evolution. Agatha Hartway or something? Oh, I forgot what the villain's name was.
Agatha Harkness.
I think that's who it is. I don't know. I saw some videos that had a theory that could be something like that, but like she would make sense because I think she's a big X-Men villain, if I'm not mistaken, or something.
I don't know too much about her, but the X-Men are kind of a pain in the ass anyway to get used to. So
did you hear that? What's it called? You right?
I don't know what my dog's doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you looking for? She's like fucking with my sheets right now. Like this is like the weirdest thing in the world. She's just making herself a bed. Like she's running around and she literally moved the sheets to have a little cushion for herself.
Man, they need to get comfortable. My dog's does some weird shit though. But dude, I can't wait for like the Multiverse of Madness is gonna be fucking great.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for that. I think they might be overextending themselves with the Spider-Man thing though, because
the Spider-Verse thing that scares me,
dude. It's they had such a perfect setup to do something unique and different with Spider-Man for this next movie, and I think they're gonna fuck it up by trying to force too much to happen. Because I would love to see Spider-Man on the run trying to clear his name, and there's a bunch of different villains and people coming after him, so he's got to stay on his toes the whole time. He's got to protect Aunt May. It gives him such a unique dynamic to be a great movie. And then you can bring in more villains. They release his villains from prison, so he's got to fight Vulture, a Scorpion, like all these guys.
Well, they might. I think they're gonna lead to something like that. It sounds like though, because I mean, I just think they're gonna cross it over. Yeah. I think they're gonna cross it over.
Well, and they'll probably bring in one of the other Spider-Men to be like, "Oh, see, I wasn't really Peter Parker," like something dumb. Like,
I just don't want them to go crazy with the Spider-Verse thing just yet. Like,
I agree. It's too much. Like, let that be its own movie. Like, I don't need to see that line.
You already have that going on in the rest of the Marvel stuff too. Yep. And it's like we don't need two different multiverse things. I do too, but like, I'm hoping that it's like there's a reason. Like, it's not just going to be just. I think like it's going to be madness, and then Doctor Strange movie is going to kind of reel it in. you know, and then make
Yeah.
it, and then it's gonna get back to like consistency kind of thing, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be like its own event kind of thing. Speaking of though, I just wanted to let you know, so I don't read comics very often, and I did read one little storyline in the comics because I was just like, I started on DC Universe, and I'm curious if you did too. But the Dark Knight Metal, did you
No,
read
I've heard
that?
good things though. I have not read that personally yet, but I've heard things.
My God, dude, it's insanity. It's insanity. Um,
No, it's nuts. Like we need to do a review for that on
oh,
the comic book podcast soon, I
oh my
think.
God, dude, I would definitely be down to join because like. I mean, just being able to see like so many like different like it's all about like these like dark multiverse Batmans, you know, and they're all
Yeah,
like
that there's some
dark
kind of like
versions.
weird like metal they touched, right?
Well, it's something like that, but like it's that's still with like Bruce, but it's more of like so like I'm not gonna go into the details, but Bruce essentially is like there's this whole lineage about him that he like, and he's able to open using him they can open a door potentially to or
Interesting.
something like he's finding out that he's like part of this whole thing. And long story short, eventually a door gets open to the dark multiverse, which is like all of the bad decisions and all the fucked up storylines essentially. And
Interesting.
long story short, so it's like there's this dark god that lives there who uses the Joker who laughs. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, or
Joker.
the Batman who laughs, you mean?
No, well, Batman Last. Sorry, Batman Who Laughs. So the Batman Who Laughs is like the main, like he's a conduit for this god. And he starts collecting all of these like bad Batman, and so it's basically all like the Flash. Like his name is Red Death. Great character by the way, but it's like a Batman Flash, and basically it shows like all the origins. It's so fucked up. Like he straps the Flash to the hood
The
of the
Batmobile.
Batmobile, and then he somehow sinks his Batmobile, and then uses his Barry's speed and like collides
Oh my
into the Speed
God.
Force, killing Barry and transforming him into the Speedster. And so that's just one of them that the Joker Who Laughs or the Batman Who Laughs starts to go and collect. And then there's like this little army of like basically all of them have their own storyline kind of linked to the main Justice League members, and they get brought through the dark, and then you just start fucking them because they're all Bruce Wayne with his smarts and his ability,
And
but
then
with
just
their
whoever these other
abilities and their
slightly terrifying.
and their like and their lack of any like
Empathy
empathy
yeah.
or anything that makes them like good. They're just like they've all done the worst thing. Their worlds were like destroyed and they were coming there. So it was this whole thing. Super cool storyline, man. I definitely recommend it. But Marvel, dude. So apparently WandaVision is coming out, but I want to see what are they gonna do with Black Panther? Like, you think it's gonna be
The comic books and Shuri takes over. Because it's almost it. We talked about this on the Yo What Up comics podcast actually last night. Um, it's it might be a little tough because like at some point they're gonna have to recast him.
Yeah.
But like the rumor is that Shuri takes over for the time being, and that T'Challa sacrifices himself and goes to that kind of extra dimensional realm that they have,
Yeah.
and that's how the purple herb is able to regrow again, so there can be more Black Panthers.
Interesting. That could be. I mean, I could see that.
It
And
makes sense, and
I
that's like a
heard-
respectful way, I think.
I heard like there might be a way where they instead like maybe make it where Namor is the guy who is like, because like you know how like in the Avengers
I
movie,
wanted to see that so.
well, you know how in the Avengers
bad,
movie
yeah.
like that they said it talked about the earthquake under the ocean. That was
Yeah.
obviously it's like in that she's
Oh,
like, oh, you
yeah.
don't do anything about it. Like, well, dude, that would be great if like he kind of like comes with like some revenge against them or something like that and kills him. Because they could also use some of his like
There's a lot, yeah.
outtakes from like other movies to maybe like do
Or they
like
could do what they. I mean, they could
Princess
even do
Leia
what they
thing,
did. Yeah, I was gonna say they could do that, where they just CGI the crap out of him. But
Yeah.
it almost feels disrespectful.
I agree.
I think they need to like leave him alone for a little
I
bit.
agree, but like even if it's just a little thing to like to maybe I don't know how they would do it. Like you could realistically, if you had a couple scenes there and then you could put him in costume, you could CGI the costume
Yeah,
fight and then
I
just
agree.
and then have him go out a hero's death, dying to like Namor or something at the beginning of the movie, like right to
Yeah,
start.
to like
And then
defend
it's
that.
like it's like Shuri's revenge game against Namor or something like
Dude,
that.
and it's like the Wakanda versus Atlantis like thing in the comics is fucking awesome. I just love that whole dynamic. 'cause
yeah, dude.
Even
It's
when
a
they're
great way
trying
to
to fight
introduce
against,
him. Is he a mutant too?
yeah, Yeah, technically.
So
And it's like one of those things where even when they're fighting against the convergence, which is when all the different realities align and it destroys Earth after Earth after Earth,
come on, I
they
watched. I
literally
seen Thor. I
acknowledge both
seen
of them are
Thor:
fighting.
Dark World. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that movie, you know what pissed me off about that movie was they're like,
The
you,
villain,
if
everything
the,
about it.
yeah, well, but later on, they're like, you didn't even use that stone correctly. I feel like
Yeah.
Kevin Feige was like, yeah, you guys fucked this up.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, he just absorbed it and nothing happened. It's just a fucking big whirlpool. Like,
Yeah. And it just like, it just
so,
opened holes to place. It looked more like the space
wait,
stone than the
so,
reality stone.
so you're telling me that your reality, you get this fucking amazing stone, and the best thing you could think of is making a red tornado. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
like
it.
Thanos is making illusions. He's he's showing fucking
In like seconds of using it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you want to see what it used to look like? Yeah, this is what it was. That was my house over there. I used to bang this chick who lived in that house over there.
And remember this. And remember this. And remember this. All right. The fucking dark elf. What is he? Thousands of years old. Like he knew this thing intimately, like in and out.
Yeah.
Knew it for thousands of years.
And
the inner workings. Thanos had it for about 50 fucking seconds and knew how to manipulate that shit better than him. I mean, come on.
And it was just so disappointing too because like that guy, and I saw the movie first. That was when I first got introduced to Malekith, and I was like, all right, I guess this guy's whatever. In the comics, he's like a savage. He slices Thor's arm off.
Dude, I love his character in the comics. He was a fucking tool in the we shall do this. I'll sacrifice my fleet and then I'll go to sleep for 15,000.
Yeah, we're like, what?
That makes zero. So you just like, why don't you guys just fight then?
Yeah, like, what was the point?
You just sacrifice your whole army for what? So you can get away for yourself? Like, okay, great ruler. Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what we should really do one day is just like tear apart everything that was like kind of dumb about the MCU. Like just talk about all that stuff because that's the best stuff, you know? Because that was a terrible movie,
so bad.
Thank God for Taika Waititi.
It's easily the worst movie. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Because the Thor character needed it. Thor's always been my favorite like Avenger. Like he's so fucking cool. Even in the Avengers game, when Thor shows up, you kind of lose your shit.
Yeah, that first one, you're like, all right, this guy's like. He is like does father knoweth where my drapes like bro now like Taika got a little element that like you just
it plays off Chris Hemsworth's natural charm and humor, and that's why I'm like they can't take him out of the MCU yet. There's rumors they're going to remove him after this. I'm like,
it's not going to be the whole Natalie Portman thing, but I think it's going to be a curveball and be Beta Ray Bill. Because I don't think I think it's a one-off movie thing with her. But here's my theory with that, Matt, was always like, why didn't they like? If you did the reality stone right, you would have did something crazy that she like got all frazzled when it was inside her and it turned her into a Thor. That would have been a reality type thing where I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And you could just written that off that way, you know?
She wanted a female. She had some director that she was super tied to for that film. Actually, funny enough, that picture right above my finger right here is Thor. And that's Doom right there. But
I just have Magneto right here. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I also got Goku / Frieza here.
I got Baby Yoda, a little maybe prediction. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen. Oh,
can you imagine?
So also going back to the Star Wars thing with Ahsoka though. Ooh. So like so apparently, did you see the preview with Sasha Banks' character?
Yes.
So I was like they definitely made it feel like it was supposed to be a Jedi. But that's obviously not Rosario Dawson, so it's not her.
Yeah.
So you at least saw the Rebels show to know Sabine, the girl that was the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
So she in Rebels, the whole storyline with the Mandalorians, like that whole thing, like you saw what happened with Bo-Katan, the leader of them, that like when they left the sister, right? She was like leader.
Yeah.
When you last saw it, whatever. Well, in the later on in Rebels, it kind of gets different, and it's like I don't want to give everything away. Long story short is they introduce those characters, and like so she's connected with Sabine from that show. Like they like she meets them. Like Sabine's part of a royal family from that same planet, from the same storyline. Right. Long story short is, well, this season's gonna kind of explore what happened on Mandalorian stuff. And they haven't said who Sasha Banks' character is, but with the purple hair that she has, Sabine had that hair. I was like, oh shit, is Sasha supposed to be Sabine Wren? So so if that's the case, that means that Sasha Banks is like a Mandalorian. For those of you who don't know, she's like a Mandalorian from the world of Mandalore. So what, like Mandalore,
Mandalorian,
right? Well, Sort of. Mandalore actually is a creed. Like, it's not. There is no true Mandalorian, but like
There used to be. They became that because they got devastated.
Right.
But even if you
the
played
colony,
the old days, like Knights of the Old Republic.
I think what happened was the colony that exists that became Mandalore was when the original Jedi Knight that was the Mandalorian, the one that's like kind of connecting this whole series. He's the guy that no one talks about, the original Mandalorian Jedi, because I actually do think we're going to see Din Djarin. I think, Matt, he's going to end up being Force sensitive, and that's why he has this bond with this kid. And it's not just going to be him or the kid that becomes a Jedi. I think you're going to see the second Mandalorian Jedi, and that's where the Darksaber is going to. It's originally, you're going to think, if you saw Rebels, you would be like, oh well. Ideally, you would think, like, you know, if Sasha Banks' character is Sabine Wren. That's why I'm mentioning her, is because if it is, then she's probably after the Darksaber too, because that was something that she was vital in bringing back to Mandalore. Yeah. But in the story, she was vital in bringing that back to Mandalore because Maul had it. So there's this whole thing with that. But long story short, so like there's where I'm like, okay, this whole thing is kind of like Sabine's gonna be with Ahsoka. So they're going to be together, Jedi traveling with Mandalorian. Now you have a little Force-sensitive baby with a Jedi, with a Mandalorian. Then you had the Mandalorian Jedi and the Darksaber, which was his lightsaber. And I'm like, ooh, I think it's going to be, this kid's going to be a Jedi, but like, I think he's going to end up being, you know, end up being Force-sensitive too. And we're going to find that out. And that's why there's been this kind of connection right when he saw him. He knew they were...
He's like, I can't kill this kid. Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, let's be real here. Like, I know it's a Disney show, so obviously you can look into this shit. But like, if he was technically supposed to be this bounty hunter, who is like this badass Mandalorian, which is what they were. They're bounty hunters who, the way he saw him in episode 1, that was him. No matter what it was, he could have absolutely killed other kids. So like, you don't know this shit. The problem is, so like, I could be looking into this, but my theory is like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's a kid, I'm gonna protect it. Like, there was something about the kid that he just couldn't shake. And the kid has been alive for 50 years, even though he can't talk or this. He knows what's going on around him. He walked outside drinking soup when they're shooting at each other. Like, he knew what was. He hides when he has to. He's coherent enough to know what he's doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of playing a little, pole. And
I love that one part in the trailer too, when he sees the little the whistling birds come out. He's like, he's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna here.
The way they use him is so fantastic. I mean, he's beautifully made. I mean, the thing is, most of the time they're
back to using puppets. Yeah, I love that.
So on that gallery thing, by the way, you can see a whole thing with them, and it's so funny how people treat him. But, dude, I really think though that you're gonna see, man, end of season 2 is gonna be this weird. And by the way, I definitely think there'll be a lightsaber fight between the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, because he could definitely get one of Ahsoka's lightsabers and fight that guy. We saw Sabine Wren use a regular lightsaber in the battle against Maul. So Filoni made all this shit, right? And Filoni made all this shit. So like he's gonna mirror things that were in the show. That's what they did in season 1. He's mirroring this whole thing as the second episode. And then there's also going to be a lot of elements that mirror the shit in Mandalorian. There's a reason why this final season was super Mandalorian heavy. Same time Mandalorian came out.
Yep.
There's a real big reason, because a lot of that is going to tie into the actual show. It's kind of like a prequel, if you will, the last season of Clone Wars, and then also if you want to go deeper into that, watch Rebels. But whatever. But dude, it's so much. I can't wait though. Can't wait.
Dude, it's gonna be.
Sorry, man. I'm just I get into that stuff. I love that stuff. So I don't have anyone to talk to about that stuff except for you, essentially.
Yeah, you got me, bro.
Of course you want to see Wolverine, right?
Oh, dude, don't we all? I think they're gonna wait a little bit. I don't think they're gonna give it to him straight.
I mean, who would you want as Wolverine?
Honestly, before he got really big from The Boys, I was pretty down for Anthony Starr.
Which one's Anthony Starr? Is that the
Homelander?
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, well, if you had ever watched, do you remember I told you about that show, Banshee?
See, yeah.
He was the main character on that, and in that show, he's very Wolverine-like. He's like a lot, like the way he fights.
I'll have to watch that a little bit. I'll have to take an episode out. I was thinking you were talking about, what's his name? The other main character. Carl Urban?
Carl Urban?
dude,
I can kind
like,
of see
because
that.
I was like, ooh, I was like, Carl Urban actually would be pretty badass Wolverine. Like, he has that demeanor in The Boys. That'd be sick if he came in and played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he can come in with that swag, and you'd be like,
Well, dude, he
all
was
right.
awesome as Judge Dredd too.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some good movies, and he can be funny if he has to. Like, I've seen him in Star Trek. He was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So he's done shit like that, you know. Dude. So who's the villain you want though? I know you want Doctor Doom. Let's not talk about that. But who's the other one that you would ask for if you had to ask for like one?
I mean, I think they've set up enough with a few. Like we could see. I heard rumors about Kang the Conqueror, which is interesting.
I think that's going to be Disney Plus. I think it's going to be a big villain. I think he's going to be a big villain, like Loki, maybe. I mean, Kang is about time, right? So like Loki, I think he was like if I saw the preview correctly, like he's dealing with something with like the Time Bureau or some shit like that.
Loki's probably fucking around, pissing people
off. Send the rocks across the pavement, hoping they will cave in and swallow me whole. Wonder where my mind keeps